but you can keep everything confidential, but we can also share this, the presentation to our friends who are not willing and together with us this time. Yeah. So let's look at, have a few glances about what is Connect Now, right? So I hope you love this name because this is our motivation. We love to connect you through us with our trustworthy service providers. And in there, we can support you to really learn and gain the knowledge, gain the information, and have the quick access for the opportunities where you can really see the investment opportunities. So under Connect Now, we are providing the services as the 1-year online trading program. We will kick off this trading program on March 1st, 2022. And we're providing and engaging you with our services from the Makla service, buy-to-let mortgage, house mortgage service, and we will support you from the end-to-end communication. And we will also have, if you want to have some hands-off investment solutions, welcome to understand more about the fund solutions. In 2022, and we will also start with the the real estate investment. And so here is part of our team. And as you may see, our team is really very international. We have the Chinese faces because we are like one of you have the international background, and maybe we are working for the foreign companies, but we really want to believe financial freedom is a foundation. So we also have very experienced Dutch partners. And those are the events we already done before. And in the concern about COVID, now from now on, most of our events will be online. And but you can also feel free to to reach us before, during, or after the event for some specific questions. And like what I said, in March 1st, 2022, we will kick off our 1-year the trading coaching program. Your coach will be quite local famous, the speaker, Mr. Andrew Bauer, and currently he's in Dubai, and he will come back to Netherlands soon. And we also have our real estate bridging loan fund, and we also have our trading funds. Those for the hands-free investors. And so in 2022, we will also kick off our direct real estate investment project, and together with the very experienced local Dutch land developers. So feel free to reach us. And that's all. And here's our office. And if you want to have some questions, come to reach me via the WeChat or call my partner, or just email us via this email address. Okay, so let's all about what is Connect Now. So at least what is our position and what are we up to. But now today, our topic it's really about because this is the end of the year, December, and so I believe most of you already plan for 2022. Okay, how is this real estate market going to look like? And since we already going through dealing for 3 or 4 years of the overwhelming market, where this the warmth of the market remains in the coming years. And should we sell our properties or buy the properties or hold it, right? So therefore, we have our guest speaker, and his name is Mr. Arthur Hinkelman. Should I just call you Arthur?
Yes, it's good. Thank you.
Great. So of course, we still have more guests coming. That's really great. So, and Arthur himself, actually, he already in this business for more than 6 years. And so maybe Master, you want to introduce yourself, but before you give your introduction, I want to say is my personal name have the partnership with with Arthur. He's dealing with my property transactions. What I really like about him is he's always there, and he has like the eyes to help you how to improve your properties and how to engage with your potential customers. And really you can find him for 24 hours and 7 days. So, and this is really great spirit. And yeah, so maybe Arthur, you would like to give us like the overall picture about who you are.
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry for the interruption before you started. Like we can't see you very well.
okay.
And, yeah, for the lighting, can you do something with the light?
Let's see what I can do with the light.
But in the meantime, of course, we can see you from our PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Always
that's true.
with a big smile.
Yeah, let's see. One moment, please.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it works.
Well, I'm in the other office today. I'm in Halle.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good, eh?
This is perfect. Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for having me at your invitation to let people from your organization know that I can be of great help. My name is Arthur Heckman. I started last year in December my company Artemakelaardij. Well, a couple of years I was asked to sell and to negotiate and communicate and in a very commercial way for buying services. And that happened when my wife and the companion started the company. And with my tools from Audi's sales manager, I worked already for 20 years in the car business as sales manager. Well, I learned a lot, of course, by helping people, tell them exactly what's important for buying a car. But now it went differently in the situation of properties. Well, what's the thing about the current market is that it's still growing, and I'm happy to be in the house market now, because when you're talking about cars, it's very difficult with all the chips from China, for example. And in the house market, it's still growing. So when I'm gonna tell you about the situation, how it looks right now, and what's very nice for the future, then I can tell you it will be beautiful. Why beautiful? I see from the last year that the selling and buying of properties went perfectly in my situation. Not only in my situation, there are a lot of real estates. They are also growing in the market range, but you have to be very specialized in the situation of, well, what's the way to sell a property? What's very important for the just one buyer or one seller, but also for the future for people who would like to have more ability to buy some properties. Very important is the impact of presentation. Very important is the impact of not only the presentation of a property, but also for a seller like me. It looks very easy to sell property. It looks very easy to buy a property when you're not specialized, when you're different than the other ones. That means be 24/7 on the way. Like you told me, I was for your properties already 24/7 on the way and selling those properties in the correct way. That will be nice to let you know that for the next year, 2022. Also, the banks like ABN and Rabobank are also told me already, because I have the conversations also with the banks and the financial advisors, that in the coming months, the various banks here, like I told you, and the experts who I have spoken with, they expect there will be an increase of selling properties a little bit more than we have seen last year. Why? The interest is still in this interesting way. So it's very low. It stays for a couple of years the same. Of course, there will be a little increase in this situation, but that doesn't matter about the market for 2022. The house prices will also increase in the next year. So buying a property right now, it's very important to have a look right now to buy properties, because the prices will increase, and with almost 10%. And that's the situation I know right now. And well, it's already be published also by ABN, but that means that when you would like to buy properties, this is the perfect situation. When you would like to sell properties, even, but don't hesitate to wait a couple of months when you're thinking about, well, is this the right moment? What is the right moment? Yeah, that's about a thing to have a good chat with me in this situation, because it depends, of course, on you. Do you have already properties in Holland? What would you like to do? Do you want to sell those properties? That's a good way to have a chat about it. We can make an appointment, and then let's see what kind of properties you have, and then make a let's see what's the situation to do it right now, or maybe you have to wait a couple of months.
By the way, and also for the interruption, and you have mentioned about from your connection with the Dutch banks, and the information you got is from 2022, the self-living, the interest rate, it's gonna remain more or less same, might have slightly increased.
Well, slightly. Just slightly, and you don't have to hesitate about, well, is it what is this the moment to do it?
Hello.
Just to wait a couple of months. The interest will slightly have a little increase, but for selling properties and buying properties, you don't have to hesitate about the fact to do it right now or in a couple of months. What will happen till 2038? The market is still growing, as I told you, but the population of the people till 2038 will increase about with 1 million. But in those amounts, you cannot see that the properties will be built in Holland. So if that amount of people who are going to live here, and that there is also the fact about the migrants. That is, of course, the more common people like expats in Holland, and for example, in Hoofddorp and Nieuw-Vennep, but especially in Hoofddorp, migrants from India, for example, they have already half of the market in Hoofddorp, and Hoofddorp lives from people like the expats from India. What's happening is that some starters cannot even buy any properties anymore. The migrants get also financial input of the companies to buy properties, because you need one. You have to live in Holland. Don't want to rent it. There is enough possibilities for them because most of them are very good educated, and for a loan, it's not even a problem to get a property. But that means that, yeah, situation of migrants is still increasing. But yeah, it's also good.
I was talking, you were talking about, what will brings for the market until the 2038, right?
Yeah.
And so you mentioned about in that moment, the demand for the properties will increase for 1 billion. And it's due to the immigrant, especially like the high and countless immigration, like people from India, like all other expats, right?
Yeah.
So you don't see any like the risk about like the concern for the unemployment rate?
No. The unemployment rate, well, it's not to be uncertain about. So my expectation, and also from the banks I've spoken with, is that that it will be no difficulty for us, for the investors, to buy properties. But yeah, it depends also what the government is going to do, because it's like what you have seen in the media about Amsterdam, about Haarlem, about Rotterdam, that certain areas in those cities it will be difficult to get properties still with 400,000 euro, for example. To do an investment, what's important is okay, you buy a property, you want some rentals in the property. What's possible in that range? Well, you have to know that there will be a change in the situations, because the starters have a problem in Holland. Starters, you need a property, you cannot buy it. First, about the migrants, the expats, they buy properties. And then the investors, still moving on, buy properties and want to rent it out. Well, to rent it out means does that still is it still possible for the investors? Well, as I told you, the governments of Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Haarlem, and other cities are changing their minds, and they think about the starters. The starters, they will have the possibility to buy property, and then it will be not interested anymore for investors. But in that case, it also depends on you, what kind of property you would like to buy. I think the amount of the price of a property, it will be in a high situation than the cheapest versions. So it depends on you in the investment in an investment to buy properties. It will depend on you what you would like to do, what you have of ability to buy property. Because in the range still for the 350, 400,000 euro, what the cities, big cities are talking about, there will be a change. So I understand very well that when you have properties and you know already, I expect that people from Holland know already that there is changements coming. You would like to sell it, because when it's not possible anymore to rent it out, yeah, then you have to sell. But maybe you have to change your mind and think about higher investment. And then, of course, from that investment, you're gonna, for example, a very big property here in Haarlem, for example, you just bought it for 250. You change it, you do an investment, the constructor has done his job, and then you sell the free from the first, second, and third floor. You sell it for each for 250 or 300,000 euro. Then you have made a big profit. That's good for selling, but okay, when you would like to buy that big property for example, three times 250, 750, and then rent it out, well, it depends on your rendement, what you're gonna get for it. The rentals pay a lot of money for properties, so yeah, it depends on where you're gonna invest. When you invest, then you have the situation, what can I charge? Well, nowadays it's very normal to have 1350 or 1400 or 1600 euro per unit. Yeah, it's still interesting, but there are changing things happening in the cities, and that's very important to look at. So when there are really questions about what can I do, what's the best situation for me, make an appointment and let's see what we can do.
I got it. Yes. So answer in here is because what you mentioned about one hand, more and more immigrants, they are like expats coming, and in areas like in the Hoofddorp, nearby the Schiphol airport, and it's actually you see because many logistic companies are located there, so the demand is increasing there. But you also mentioned about in the cities like Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Haarlem, government is focused more on the startups.
Yes.
You mean startups? Do you mean like the younger, like a middle and lower class of the buyers?
Yeah. So young people I've got a lot of customers. I do buying services and I help them to buy properties. But what I see is that a lot of investors buy properties and later on they rent it out and get a big profit for it monthly. Well, for starters, it's very difficult to get properties. When you have a certain loan, maybe you have a partner, and then it's better, of course, and it's a better situation to get a better mortgage in this case. But still difficult to get it because to rent a property, it's incredible what cities ask. And Hoofddorp is booming, Amsterdam, of course, but Amsterdam is getting more difficult than it was before. And yeah, the big cities near Schiphol, that's the beautiful situation for us, for example, that we live here and can invest in a good situation. But the starters have difficulties. So when you are not a starter, you're not young, and when you're not a starter, then you can still move on. But what I told you, there will be a change in the cities. The governments change their minds, and you have seen it already in the media. I think that also when we're talking about Amsterdam, Rotterdam, or Haarlem, it's not easy to arrange a property in a price range till the €400,000 and then think about renting it out. You will have the problem that it's not possible anymore. You have to think bigger now, in a bigger amount, and then let's see what you can do, because yeah, you need a big property, rent it out. So one big family property, you have to change it into parts and then rent it out.
So can you say a little bit more about that one? Because we noticed this will be new regulation in 2022 in some major cities, and it's difficult for you to buy some properties, but mainly to, because government interrupt, right?
Yes,
and you cannot rent it out. So your solution is you can still buy the properties in those cities, but it should go for the one big family properties.
Yes.
That the value should be about 400,000, right?
Yeah. Well, and then change it, because now it's still possible to change it into one family property. For example, when it's a logical property, to change it into three apartments, for example. Now it's still possible to do it, but also there is already they talk already about it, that they want to stop that situation too, because it's beautiful. I see it also in Haarlem. I see a second one rising up here. They bought a property for €300,000. There's a construction inside the property. They changed it into 3 apartments, and then it's rented out for about they rent it out or just sell the property and make a big profit. Yeah, and then when you have an investment of €300,000 and €150,000 to create 3 apartments, then you spend about €450. Later on, you sell it for €750. Because 3 times 250 is 750. Yeah, it's incredible that you can fix that like this. It's still okay now. It's still, but also, people, because starters have a difficulty. The government, Holland, they talk about the starters. Why do the starters cannot move out by the parents? They need some help, and then then it will be a lockdown for the investors. Yeah, till the €400,000 depends on the city where you would like to buy. There are differences, and of course I can let you know in a couple of weeks more about it, because that's really a thing that's moving on, and that will happen. But that means that when you really want something, you have to do it now. But be assured that think big. You have to think bigger in the bigger situation.
Got it. When you mentioned about, could you also suggest us some other cities? Currently, you can still buy some, it's worth for you to invest the properties under 400,000, and the regulation for the local government is not so strong. But there are those cities more like the EM market, still a lot of potential. What other cities should we put the eyes on it?
Yeah, well, the main thing right now is the big cities are was booming, and now you're thinking about getting out of the big cities. It's very difficult to say because I pronounce now directly about the big cities. What will happen to the villages? What's happening, for example, with like New Vennep? Is it better now to look at the properties in New Vennep than in Hoofddorp? Because Hoofddorp is also talking about it already. So it's still the thing what's the government already talking about that will move on. So it's not, I cannot say right now that it's, for example, Vijfhuizen. I mean, that's nearby Haarlem. That Vijfhuizen is better to buy their property and then rent it out when you would like to do it. It will be a new situation because people thinking normally that you have to live in big cities, because from the big city the connection to Schiphol or whatever, it is the best situation, because there you have the buses, you have the trains leaving there, and when you have to take your bike or take the bus, first to get the bus, and it will last, for example, 10 minutes to get it, and then to Schiphol, and then normally when you have a property in Haarlem, it will last you about 20 minutes to get in Amsterdam. But when you live in Vijfhuizen, it will be 45 minutes, 50 minutes. That will change then, but because you know already that there is a changement, and when it's good to look out of the big cities, that's good to have a look at. But for now, I expect for the coming months that it will be no issue at all. But also that is a situation for the future that will change. So will it be better in the next year? Of course, for selling properties, for the starters, it will be better. But for us, for the investors, there will be a changement, and that's for the next meeting, I think. Because I don't know when will be the next meeting, but we will see what will happen in a couple of weeks already. What will happen when it's still the big cities? The knowledge that it's the big cities that's a problem. What is with the little ones outside the suburbs of the cities? Is that a good situation to look at those investments? I will let you know in the next coming weeks, but for now, it's still a market that we have to be sure that it's what's good, what's not good to do. So that's difficult to say it right now, because there's a big shadow already in the government. We have to do something about it. We have to think about the starters. Yeah. But I understand you would like to do some investment, but please think before you buy a property. And there are lots of changements, of course, coming and rising. But I think before you go for it, just ask me before you go for it, and then you have to calculate exactly what's possible. Because when you have a property and you cannot rent it out, then you have already a problem, because that was not the purpose in advance. Yeah.
I got it. Yeah, because nowadays for this market, we see the opportunities, but in the meanwhile, there are quite many uncertainties. And yeah. So like it's important, like we have consulting from you before we enter the market. Yeah. Okay. So I think up to now, Arthur, you have already like covered about what brings for the 2022. And what we heard is the interest rate will remain more the same. The demand will be there. And until 2038, they gotta have the shortage, 1 million shortage for the real estate market in the Netherlands.
It will stay booming. Yeah. So the house prices will rise absolutely for next year. And the interest will be beautifully in the situation like we are now, but maybe a little bit more. But what we had in the past, which was 3-4%, that was already lovely. but it will not be. It will not change into the 5, 6, 7, or 8% till 2038. No, because that will mean that a lot of people have a problem because now you spend a lot of money than years before. For example, in Heemstede, when you buy the Heemstede Dreven property for €700,000. And it was 2 years ago. Now those properties have been sold already for 1 million, 1.1, and it's still moving on, growing in that range. So you cannot change the interest in this case. That will be a disaster for many people.
Yeah.
Especially people when they're going to have a divorce, for example. Yeah. Then you have to stay together, because when the market will change and the house prices will change already also from 1.1 million till the 700 or 800,000 euro again, then you have a problem together. Then you have to finance the rest, and that's not the purpose. So that will be the same. So for the next year, it will be lovely for people selling properties. Buying properties, that's the issue you have to look at. Big investments, no problem at all. But yeah, it depends on what you want.
Got it. Yeah, you mentioned about the word bidding. Could you share a little bit more about like bidding with all terms of conditions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. Of course, you have to. When you do a bidding, please take me for doing a bidding, because of course there are more real estates they do buying services. Of course, without an aankoopmakelaar in Dutch, it's so difficult to buy a property. When you bought a property, then you have spent absolutely too much money for it, because what's the point when you have good connections? Well, I'm not only in the situation of the Randstad, of Haarlem, Amsterdam, etc. I do buy properties everywhere in Holland, and there, of course, you see the difference. But it was also on the radar a couple of months ago on television that some makelaars, some real estates, they have connection with each other, because when you sell property, you have about 20, 30, 40 viewers, maybe more, depends on what it is. But sometimes you have a little knipoog, like they say in Holland. What do we have to do to buy this property? So please acknowledge that when you do it by yourself and you bought a property, then you have to spend too much money for it. It's important to save money, but I can, of course, I can arrange it, because when I have a chat, when I see a property, when I have a viewing with my customers, later on, before I go to the property, I have a chat already with the real estate, with the makelaar, later on also, and at the deadline moment, just the minute before, I have contact and I want to know, what do I have to do to buy this property? Can you please help me? Other real estates will do the same, of course, but no, I see it already with my properties. I sell properties, and there are some makelaars, they phone me, but there's maybe 2 from the 10. It's so strange, because when you have your customers, you go with them to the viewing, you have later on a conversation about the property. Okay, what can we do? Of course, you have a budget, but yeah, maybe in the family they have some extra money for you to get this property you would love to live in. So I want to know before what I can do, and then I ask the real estate, what do we have to do? Give me some. And normally you don't talk about money, but maybe you talk about cars. For example, I ask, please let me know, do I have to do an Audi A1, for example, from 20,000 euro, or is it about an Audi A4 for 40,000 euro? What do I have to do? So, okay, it sounds, of course, beautiful what I'm telling you, but it works. And so for buying services, buying properties, I want to know before how far I can go. To do the bid for you. What kind of conditions? Well, you need terms of conditions, but yeah, when you have the money, you know already what you can do. Then I can also do a bid without terms of conditions. Normally, when a starter or people buy a property, they need 6 till 7 weeks for the terms and conditions for the finance. That's too long. You need it has to be shorter. So I have contacts with financial advisors. of course, they want to have a chat with the people who would like to buy a property. They would like to know exactly what the possibilities are. They have the loan. The calculation is there. I say always have a chat with my financial advisor. They will calculate perfectly what's possible, and then when you need the terms and conditions, when it's really necessary, and of course, I like it also when I sell property and they ask for terms and conditions for example, 2 or 3 weeks. Well, why not? Maybe there is a difficulty in the valuation of the property because it's so important that the market price for the valuation, and yeah, it's okay because when you your bid was that high and need 100% of loan of valuation, yeah, and it is not possible to evaluate the property, then you have a big problem. When I do a bid on the property, I know already what the valuation report looks like. I have contacts. I ask before I do the bidding, and of course I know the market. I know the price ranges of properties. I have contact with the valuators. If it's Hoofddorp, if it's Amsterdam, I buy this property. The people need 100% loan, 100% mortgage. I know already if I can do it. When it's not possible, when you don't have savings, for example, for a property of 500,000 euro and you have savings of 20,000 euro, well, that are the buying costs already. No, and it's to evaluate for less than the bid. I will not do the bid, but when I know it's possible, then I can do it. I can go for it for 100%. I bought 2 properties this week already in Hoofddorp. It's okay, that's the people from India, expats, but they both need 100% mortgage, 100% loan. And I arranged it. So 2 evaluators, they can arrange it and ready. But when you have savings, then you have more space to do your thing. But yeah, to do the bid with terms of conditions, 6 or 7 weeks, that's too long. And then you will not be the buyer nowadays with properties where people are completely looking at the properties, the popularity of the property, where you know already that there are common people with 30 or 40 viewers. And there's, in my opinion, I do the bid, and that's with terms of conditions of 6 or 7 weeks, that's too long. So the real estate will take those who have shorter terms of conditions. So you have to know that short terms of conditions is important. But that's the thing. But in my way, I also bought a property with the full range of terms of conditions. So it also depends on the connection you have. So some people, you need an aankoopmakelaar, you need someone to help you. But when you still need all those weeks, in some cases, when the connection is good and the bidding is an okay range, I do a little bit more than, well, because I know already what the last highest bid is. Still I can arrange, sometimes, not always, I can buy that property for my customers. So there are a couple of things what's going on with buying services, with buying a property. But in my case, I have to focus. I have to know exactly what's going on. And yeah, another thing is the technical inspection, for example. When I go with you and I have a viewing at a property, I will have a perfect look at the property, how is the condition. But sometimes you don't know how's the foundation, because I cannot go under the ground. I cannot see it because everything is closed. Sometimes you need a technical inspection. But when you do a bid on the property and there are lots of people who would like to do a bid and they have no terms of conditions, not even a technical inspection, of course you, as real estate, think about, well, that's the most beautiful thing. They do a bid, no terms of conditions, no technical inspection, it's sold. But but it still depends on how old is that property. What do I think about the situation? I do the viewing. I look at constructor also how it is. And when I have the context with the real estate and I say, really, I understand. Terms and conditions has to be easy. But is it possible still? Because I cannot look and you not even know exactly how it is. For example, the foundation. Please, is it okay that we have a technical inspection? It will be okay for you as a makelaar, as a realtor. You're selling this property. You don't not even know how this property is. The people just live there for 2-3 years and they're moving out now because they are in divorce or whatever. When there is a problem later on, then you have a problem. And I just asked that there is a technical inspection to know that it's okay. Because I would like to be sure that people, my customers will buy this property, that I did a good thing. But of course, when you say, well, no, Arthur, it's not the way to buy this property, because I have someone without conditions, we go for it. Then I just ask my customers, well, I'm not certain about the situation. It looks good, but you never know. So what we are gonna do? It's then up to you, and I want it black or white. I see it's good, but I hesitate, and by hesitation, I normally also say don't do it. But it's just the total package from A till Z to look at the whole situation, and yeah,
I got it.
I've got the knowledge.
Yeah, like what you have shared, actually the importances about, like having the anchor makelaar when you are going to buy the properties. Because first of all, where you know how to do first of all, have like a technique expectation about the properties that the client's going to bid. Because there might have some foundation or leakage issues, which our clients cannot see visibly from our eyes. And secondly is normally you will also prepare the clients before they go to bid by understand their loan capacities.
Yeah.
How much money can they loan? How much money do they have as a self fund?
That's very important.
Right? Yeah. And also like quite important is because you do actually have some language where you can communicate with the seller's makelaar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah. It's information you better not hear, but I think in this way of setting, we're sitting now, and it will be strange when I tell you another story. It's in the Dutch market very normal, and yeah, it will be helpful for you when you want to buy a property to know that there are ways to get it. But of course, there are differences with selling makelaars. Of course, some makelaars, they don't tell you anything, and they just do the thing. But why are you good in this job? By selling and buying, that's a certain way of, because you as buyer are emotional. You look at the property, you love it, blah 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 blah. But it's for me to look with other eyes. Of course, I see your emotion and I go with it, but there's more than it. And no, and that's just a way of dealing with the. It's like, of course, I know that to get more and more. I do the buying services. I get more and more people asking for me just to help me. But it's so important that I also I'm that. I've got the same thing with the selling side. So with a makelaar, I need that contact with the makelaar. It doesn't matter when it's Amsterdam or Ter Apel or Groningen. When I have the contact, I phone them, I ask them. I always ask them questions that I know want to know more. And sometimes they say no, 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 and after the second or third time, I hear a yes, and then that yes, that's so important that I can move on to get the information to buy you that beautiful property. And that you not spend too much money for it, because when you did it by yourself, you will see you pay too much.
Yeah. Indeed, yes. So, like in the meantime, like for any of our guests, if you have any questions, and feel free just to write your question in our chat, or you can just unmute yourself, yeah, and you may ask the question right away. because I know like this time, like we don't actually, we removed the idea about having the PowerPoint slide, but it's more like the broadcasting style, and we just come with the Q&A session. So up to now, actually, Arthur has already mentioned to us, for now, the market actually looks really pretty good. You know, the warmth of the market will remain. Yeah, but looks like in coming few weeks, there will be the clearance about what the latest regulations for the 2022.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, we will see it.
Yes. So Arthur, could you but do you suggest like now, do we actually go to buy the properties or hold for a few weeks?
It depends on what you would like to invest, because it's very good to when you would like to buy property above the 400,000 euro. Well, Amsterdam is already changing the mind a little bit. For example, above the 450,000 euro in Amsterdam, just buy the properties. But it depends, of course, on the whole situation, because all the selling market, the real estates, they know already, and the people also, they see it. Two months ago, there was a perfect family property sold for 400,000 euro. Sorry, the asking price was 400,000 euro. It was sold for 480, 490. The next one in the street is also has been sold for 490. Then the people are thinking, and the real estates, they want the order, because I'm also sometimes in conference with 10 or 11 makelaars. I had it also in Alsmeer. I was in conference with 11 makelaars, and the lady asked me to sell it. I was not that. I'm not expensive, but okay, that will be for later on the situation. But the sellers, they see that in connection to the references, they hear and they see that the property has been sold for more money. So you will see a difference in the coming months also, that the property from a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, asking price 400,000 euro, that price range will change already to 450 asking price, 460, 470, because they were already sold for near the 500,000 euro. And then what will happen in that high price asking range, then it can be changed, and it will be that those properties, the reference properties, that those properties will be sold for more than 500,000 euro. There, so there is that 10%. There is that still growing market of properties. When you have a property, want to sell it, it's a beautiful situation to do it now. And my expectation is also to do it in 2022. It's not necessary to do it directly, to start December, January. My expectation will be that it's in 2022 still a beautiful moment to sell your property. So don't be rushed to do it right now. I will really love to sell your properties within a couple of weeks, of course, but it's not really necessary. So when you still want to think about what shall I do? Shall I keep it or shall I sell it? Well, I give you some advice, but then you have to make an appointment with me, but it will still be a beautiful market. To buy property, be aware that you have to spend more money also than a couple of, well, in 2022. Okay. People are standing in the row to get a property, and the interest is still low, and that's the point. The interest is low, so the people buy. It's not the thing that that's not my thing that I arrange the high prices. It's the people. We buyers, we buyers do it. So yeah, that's the situation. It's still moving on. So that's beautiful for you.
Got it. I do actually have one question about, like you mentioned about, because sometimes we know trading and buying and selling is about timing, right? So for the sellers who has the properties over the length of the whole year, when will be the best time for people to put the properties on the market where they have more traffic flow?
Yeah, well, never sell property in a holiday, because you have to know exactly the holidays in Holland. And please sell your property when the sun is shining and there's there are again leaves in the trees, because yeah, of course, the properties sell themselves already also now, and it's not when it's raining and it's looks dark, blah blah blah. But yeah, it's better to have them because some areas also I live here in Holland. It looks nicer when there are leaves and flowers when the sun is shining. The people have the vibes from, oh wow, I love the sun. That's also they have the vibe of, wow, this property is beautiful. Look, the garden and the leaves in the trees. When there are no leaves, you see the big flats, the apartments. Ugh. No, you need to sell your property when it's already in a cozy area in the sunny moment. So start April, May, and then till autumn. Yeah.
Okay, April and May. Okay, may I understand in this case, actually, it's best for people to buy the properties during the summer holiday and also winter time.
Well, yeah, it's now not that crowded by viewings, so it's the property still will be sold for good money, of course, and it also depends what I told you. Because an apartment does not need a real beautiful sunny day. It depends on the balcony maybe, but when you have a villa and with a beautiful garden, yeah, sorry, but to sell the property with nice weather, also for the presentation, to make the pictures, the video, it is so beautiful when it's on a beautiful day, not a dark day, rainy day. So the combination of beautiful video presentation on the internet, and then on the day that you know, in that week we will have the sun. That will be very important for selling the property in a proper way, and the market is still good in 2022. So that's the thing I would like to say to you. That's important to do it in a good way. Yeah.
Gotcha. So nowadays we do have some concern about the inflation, right? So therefore we see quite many capitals going to the stock market and also real estate market, and they say the best investment is a brick, right? Do you think actually putting the free cash into the real estate will be the solution? And during this uncertain market?
Yeah. I would say that that's a good question. There will be some changements, and because I know, because just for the investment, we talked about it in the lower price range and then in the big cities. I have to get the information the coming weeks what will happen, and then yeah, I can let you know more about it. But for now, I be assured that there is some changements. So think about when you have an apartment, for example, in Amsterdam, and you know already that there will be changements. Then it's a beautiful moment to sell the apartments right now, because when you cannot rent it out, yeah, then you have the problem, and it will start next year, absolutely. And yeah, that's the thing you have to know. So better sell it right now, because the more people are doing it. And then when there are too many apartments, because of course there are a lot of properties for sale, but not that much. And when there is suddenly, normally when you have 2 in a week, for example, just 2, and there are coming 10 of those apartments in the same way, yeah, it will be difficult. Then you have to, then it's very important that you have the most beautiful apartment of those 10. And then you know that you will sell it. But when you have hesitation about when there's something wrong with your apartment, and you know that in connection with the rest, you will not sell it that easily. Yeah, that's the thing to think about.
I got it. Yes. Yeah. So as a last question, as for the like the individual, like a buyer, right? So of course, like if we want to try it by ourselves, like buying the properties by ourselves, do you have some suggestions? And what do the individual buyers need to pay attention when they want to go to bid the properties?
Well, it also depends on how long you're already looking for a property in the market, because when you just started, you don't know what's normal. And but when you're already looking for a couple of months, maybe a year for a property, you see that the prices have changed already. And yeah, what first was 250 and now it's 320 already. Yeah, that's the changement already. And do we have to overbid again? Because yeah, a couple of months ago we said no, and now we still don't have a property, and maybe we have to do some extra. So okay, when you do it by yourself, you don't know the references. When you not get the information, you don't know the reference where the properties have been sold for. Okay, when you have it, what you have to do then, when you really want a property, you have to feel okay, and ask the makelaar, did you have already a lot of people for this property? Well, yes, of course, he will tell you that there are a lot of interested people, and they all want to do a bit on the property. Yeah, it also depends on what you like to buy, because when it's an apartment and everyone is standing in a row, you know it already. You have seen a lot of a couple of months ago, weeks ago, and just heard after a nice bid you did, no, I'm sorry, you're not the one. And maybe it was in the terms of conditions, maybe it was in the bid, because there's a combination. When I sell a property and I see there's someone who does a bid of 350, he needs 6 to 7 weeks. Well, and the valuation will be difficult. And the other one did a bid of 340, 10 grand difference with no terms and conditions. Now, then I can better advise my sellers to go for that one. So you have to know in advance what's possible for you, what's the budget, what does your financial advisor says. When you don't use me or another aankoopmakelaar, yeah, then it's just to try. But you will see when you get a property, you will have your bid was that high, and you spent in that range too much money. I will tell you, when I sold, for example, the apartment in Alsmeer, no makelaar, just the bid, and the bid was that enormous. And when I was your aankoopmakelaar, then of that person, I will have a phone call with Arthur. Arthur, what do you have already? So I would like to do a bit, but do I think in a good range when I do 340? Well, no, I have already 340. Okay, what do I have to do again? Do I have to have a chat with my customers about when it's possible for 345, 350? I have it already also. Okay, so that lady who bought this property for a much more money, when she asked me for it, I would have bought it for 352, but she did an enormous more higher amount. But when she just asked me, I could buy that property for less money. Of course, I also want to earn some money by selling properties, but that difference with what she did in the bid, yeah, it's incredible. And that's what happens when you do it by yourself. But okay, you can do it by yourself. Have a look at property, look at the reference, ask the financial advisor what's possible, what can I do? Is it to evaluate when you have not enough savings? Yeah, you can try it yourself, but it's that difficult to do it yourself. And yes, when it's possible, it's a little bit a shame that you not ask me or another good aankoopmakelaar to help you. That's what I want to tell you.
Yeah, because I have to say, like this year I missed a few properties, and before, like I was like underestimated about the competition for this market. And so I saw actually for the viewers, some of them just go there together with their makelaar, and the makelaar can give the advices almost right away. Yeah. So, but you mentioned about if you really want to do by yourself, first of all, important to go to your mortgage advisors, understand your loan capacity. Second thing is about figure out, is this property is really what do you want, can match with the living standard. You need to live, you need to put it to stay. It's a very private thing, right? And certainly really to have some comparison, understand some references of the properties in that community, right? You know, how much do they sell before? Okay, so those are actually like quite important suggestions for here. So I think up to now, like Arthur, and because we have 1 hour past here,
Yeah.
and we do also have our like a WeChat group. And I believe some friends who are not in our Chinese WeChat group, and you have our email address, and contact us, email us about your specific questions. Questions can be, what are the specific knowledge and information or opportunities you want to hear for our next, like the real estate seminar? And so Arthur and our team can start to prepare with that. And then your questions can be, do you have any demand or questions either about buying the properties or selling the properties? So we can organize some free call for you to introduce you between you with Arthur. And we say like, this is an uncertain market, and we want to really enter the market with the good information, better preparation, and do not make the risk and or overbuying or overbeating it. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I think that's all for today's seminar. Really thank you, Arthur, to arrange the this 1 hour from your very, very busy agenda.
Yeah,
I know you're also already, you're already working almost for the weekends, but really like thanks for sharing, what you know about the 2022, what you hear from the banks regarding for the interest rate, what you will keep us in loop about the latest regulation in few weeks, and also about for people, if you want to buy properties under 400,000, looks now it's quite safe goal for you to go for. But any properties above that, and just really contact with Arthur to get more information and advices. So I think that's all for today. And it might be our like a last seminar about the real estate buy and sell, but in 2021. And but for sure we have more to come in, and so really thank you, Arthur, to be on site with us.
Yes, thank you too.
Great. Yes, and thank you everyone for your time. And this is lunch break time, and just go to enjoy your lunch. And we're also like learning and engaging with each other during this time. So I will see you very soon. And tomorrow we will have another seminar about the income tax. Yeah, no matter from your salary income, your investment income, or you have shares for the company, and how are you going to prepare for the income tax? Heart like bedankt. Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Dankjewel. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Tot ziens. Thank you. Xifeng, I think Xifeng is new for me. I haven't met him yet. Andy, I saw you before. Yes, we were sharing the WeChat group, Andy, yes. And feel free to send us the private messages, yeah. I think actually Arthur, maybe for the the buy and net, this is some people would rather to communicate like one by one.
Yeah, and, I understand.
Yeah,
that's very good. That's very good. One by one is very good. And I give you some advice.
Yes, yes. Because normally like we do got quite many questions regarding, because like if we are giving our audience about like very like knowledge intensive, like the seminar, and they will come with quite many questions. Yeah. And so this time actually we are giving them some information for them, maybe it's reading about absorbing that. Yeah, and I think for us, we still have some guests in there, probably like we need to invite, yeah, they hear me. What is a Candice Hoch? I think this is my first time get to know him or her. Yes. And Moses, who is that? Is that Kirsty? Hui Ting, I know who is that. And Andy actually is my alumni from the American school. So let me say, ready to invite them one by one. Okay.